I haven't been in here before. Have you ever been to Newcastle Airfield?
No, I haven't. This is the first time, yeah.
You would think now you would have snuck in during your young years in Greystones. I'm thinking February you make your first solo flight in a glider. That took 50 lessons. And just for me, I would think that's dedication. Did you ever waver? Do you ever sort of think this is too much work?
I mean, it's definitely been a journey because at the start it was like all the excitement built up, you know, like it wasn't hard. And then, you know, once you have to start getting into the hard ends of like studying and stuff, it got like a little tricky and like I had to consider, is this really what I want to do? But it was always yes. I mean, it's aviation and I love it so much. It's just what I want to do, and so it's always been worth it. So just pushing through and like making it happen.
So there wasn't, I don't know if there was a road to Damascus moment, whether it was just a gradual realization that this is something you loved, or was there I don't know, a movie or a person or what sparked it?
So really when I moved from Greystones to Seattle, it was mostly my school, so like everybody just talked about space. It was like the normal thing. And
well, this is Educate Together. They're always talking about space there. That's their main goal in life, is to get to space.
In Seattle we had like guest speakers come in too, since like Seattle's kind of like there's a lot of aviation places and space places there. So we had guest speakers come in and talk about like their jobs in the space industry, and it was just wow, because I hadn't heard so much about it before, and it was just so inspiring how they did that. And then I started getting really interested in space, and like the possibility of human space travel was amazing. So first I wanted to be an astrophysicist and like study planets, but at that point I was kind of like, I want to do more than that, than just like study them. Like I actually wanted to like see them. So I set my sights on being an astronaut, and I've like stuck with that ever since. And so like researching how to be an astronaut, flying was definitely a big part of it. So I began starting flying, and that's how I ended up here.
Was there? I don't know if there was a case of breaking the news to your parents. I know that it's normal to be a doctor or a musician or something, but I'm going to be an astronaut. Was that a kind of thing they expected, or did it surprise them?
I mean, it definitely surprised them because like I'd never really shown interest in planes before, because I wasn't really exposed to them much, so I didn't know much about them. But like I was just like, first I started talking about space, so it wasn't that much of a surprise. Like I was like, oh, I'm really interested in this, like just learned about this and everything. So it was like they knew I loved space. And then like when I was like, after I found out like what an astronaut was and like all the job criteria, I was like, I want to be an astronaut. And they're like, wow, okay. And they were like really supportive all the way through, and like always helped with everything and opportunities. So it's been great, but definitely a shock at the start because it's like a big goal.
Because it's a huge journey to make, and I don't know if at the start you sat down and looked at just how much you kind of worked it out. Okay, this is going to take a decade, maybe more, maybe 2 decades.
Yeah, so like at first I was like, oh, an astronaut sounds pretty cool. So I was like, yeah, I want to be an astronaut. But I was like, if I really want to make this my goal, like I'm gonna have to like figure out how to do it. And so I started researching, and like, because NASA has a bunch of like information on their webpage, like what kind of degrees you need to get, or like where you need to study, and like the different routes. Like you could take the Air Force military route, or you could take the civilian scientist route. So I started figuring out which way I wanted to go with that, and like how long it would take. And so like right now, after researching a bit, like it's changed quite a bit. First I wanted to do civilian, and now I'm more in like the military route, just because it like pays for your college. So going through that, and then like serving in the Space Force for a bit, and then going into NASA, like that's about my plan for now. But
wow,
yeah.
So that idea too, that I know that you believe there's aliens out there, and that you believe that it would be great to basically get to another planet and have a planet B to go to. I mean, is that something that you kind of see happening in your lifetime? Do you just sort of feel, well, that's part of my job that I would love to happen? I understand that it's a kind of far off possibility.
Yeah, so
literally.
Yeah. So I've like my goal is to go to Mars. Like I want to go to Mars so bad and like explore stuff. And I feel like I don't personally think there's like life on Mars. Like I believe there used to be, because I can see evidence of that, evidence of rivers and everything. But definitely I think in my lifetime we'd at least have some kind of base set on Mars. Like I know that with the Artemis program they're already starting to go to the moon. So I feel like in my lifetime, maybe not like even a full Mars base, but at least like something would have started. And then finding life in space, like I really do think aliens are real, because in like the whole universe, and like now like with the possibility of multiverses, like we can't be the only planet with like any kind of life. So like I don't know if we'll find it in my lifetime, but I think it's just great to keep on looking because I feel like there is.
It'd be great if there is intelligent life out there, just to tip the balance back in that direction.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And Mars is great at this time of year. Apparently it's very nice, so yeah, it's a good time to go. So you've also, I know that you're involved in a Washington sort of website, which is sort of encouraging others to follow this path and to know that it's not out of reach, that people can do this.
Right, yeah. So in my school, I did start like a space and aviation club to encourage other youth, because when I first started getting interested in this, it was hard to find opportunities. I mean, like, not many people talk about it for youth. Like, I always thought you had to be an adult to start flying, and so I just like sat with that. But then I started researching more, and like, you can fly a glider for still like 6 or 14 years old. And that's crazy. So like, just to be able to share those opportunities with other people so they know about it if they're interested. And then yeah, like we're also starting a glider club for youth, which is like a proper, like in Washington, to help them like have all the resources and training opportunities just available, specifically targeted at youth, because like the industry is definitely growing. So.
And when you were in school here and Educate Together, I mean, I don't know whether you were staring off into space a lot, or whether this was something that wasn't even really on your radar until later on in life.
I feel like it wasn't on my radar. Like, I'd always like loved aliens, but like it's just like, you know, the normal like thing to like. But really, just when I moved, it started coming into place. But yeah. Well,
we do wish you all the best. I think it's going to be, you're in Newcastle here today. The beautiful Marlena has set up a flight for you. I know that you've got an awful lot under your belt already. Do you think, kind of time-wise, when you might get to go into space? Is there a sort of a goal set in your mind?
Well, like, firstly, thank you for everyone who made this like possible for today, because it's such an amazing opportunity. And yeah, so for like time, so if I go with like the military route that I'm thinking of, like I'll graduate college and like finish serving in the Space Force at like 27 years old, and then like hopefully like go on to work for NASA as like an astrobiologist first, and then maybe an astronaut. And like most NASA astronauts are like the around of like 30 to 40, so like that plan would like work out in that time.
So it's a long-term goal. It's not like, oh, no, I can skip the queue here. That you just have to do your work and
keep.
Well, we look forward to it. And when you do go up there, do wave down to us. Like, we will be looking out for you.